Okay, good to go.
Good to go. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'll call this meeting to order at 10:02 on April the 10th, 2026. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. The city of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hadawandawak, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The City of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Before we go any further, are there any declarations of interest in regard to today's agenda items? Seeing nothing, we'll start with the adoption of today's agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please, to adopt it? Thank you, Joe. Thanks, Ratna. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, that's passed. Thank you very much. The next thing we'll do is the adoption of the minutes from our last meeting, which was on January 23rd. Oh, sorry, Councillor Heck. Oh, no, I think you're just frozen on my screen. I don't know, with your hand up. That was weird. Okay, never mind. The adoption of the minutes from our January 23rd meeting. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt those minutes? Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Stuart. I'll ask the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that is passed. Okay, we're going to start with correspondence. I'm just looking on my screen here. I don't think Jay has joined us yet. Okay, well, we'll start with correspondence DS 12/2026 regarding the urban forestry grant application. My understanding that at the meeting on March 24th, Council passed report DS 12/26 regarding a request for municipal support for an urban forestry grant application. So that's great news. This grant will support the city's creation of an urban forestry management plan. So typically an urban forestry management plan is a strategic document designed to protect, maintain, and grow Thorold's tree canopy, all in the service of providing climate change resilience, pest and disease management, and maximizing the ecological, economic, and social benefits of the urban forest. Typical UFMPs start with an as-is inventory of the area's trees and to establish a baseline, and then works towards a desired state, which typically consists of objectives for a specific tree species diversity, as well as canopy cover. And Jay just joined us. Would you like to, Jay, assuming you're set up and ready to go, we're just on the urban forestry grant application. Would you like to provide a summary and an update on the grant application and how it connects to the previously discussed tree savings plan, as well as other grants and funding for tree planting initiatives, and how it all ties together with this committee? If not, I can read from your prepared statement, but can you hear us okay, Jay? Okay, I'm not hearing him, so I will just get started. He did share some notes in case he had some technical difficulties while he is off-site today. So the good news is the city received, the council, we have council support to make an application. And in essence, we see the following steps happening. So there will be a team of consultants that will provide a rough outline of what they see in an urban forestry strategy plan for Thorold. And city staff, along with the consultants, will be working with the region and the NPCA to collect tree canopy data. Once the data is collected and mapped, and some preliminary analysis performed, then that's when the real work gets started. And there'll be a number of sessions to discuss the activities of this strategy development. At City Council, there'll be public information sessions, as well as special discussions with this committee, with the ECBAC. Okay, so really looking forward to that. The urban forestry strategy is really a key document for a number of things that we want to do going forward. And that includes the tree saving plan that was brought forward by Councillor Hare a month or two ago. I guess it's several months ago now. And we'll also hopefully fold into that the plans that we have for naturalizing some of the city's own property. And Jay is here. So Jay, I think I said that correctly, but if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I think you got it correct. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so like you said, the urban forestry strategy kind of rose out of a bunch of resolutions that were passed by council. And yeah, you were correct in saying that this is kind of the guiding document for what will become kind of the urban canopy of Thorold. So like I say, we submitted our grant application on Monday of this week. It will take a couple of months for us to kind of determine what our final funding amount is, but in the interim, we have prepared kind of a draft terms of reference that we will be sending out to some consultants in the next couple months to at least begin the work. I guess some of the other points to bring up are we've recognized in the past that maybe staff could have been, I guess, more collaborative with ECBAC. And so consultation is one of the big kind of things that we will be evaluating consultants on when they do submit their kind of tenders. So like I say, it's going to become one of the kind of guiding fundamental documents for kind of our environment. When you look at the environment of Thorold, it's going to be one of the most important documents that we produce. And so we really do want to emphasize collaboration between ECBAC and then obviously the other kind of equity deserving groups that need to be consulted as well.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Jay. I agree fully, and I would believe that one of the next steps that we have, which we'll talk about a little bit later, in the Greening Thorold initiative, is looking at naturalizing some of city-owned land, and we'll kind of work in parallel because ideally the urban forest management plan would have been done in advance, and then everything would sort of fall into place. But I think we can work in parallel just so as to not lose any time. Okay. Are there any questions or comments from anybody else on the committee on this subject? Yes, Ratna.
I just like to know, is it a part of Green Municipal Fund of the federal government?
Good question. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so like I say, we do have some budget set aside from City Council, but the grant application to kind of expand that budget is through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and then underneath that, the Green Municipal Fund. So yes.
Thank
And
you.
just on that question, Ratna, Jay and I have also shared some notes on there are about 2 or 3 other potential sources of funding for these types of initiatives. So that's good to know that we do have some higher level of government funding support for this. Okay.
Oh, I just had a question. So we hear a lot about Lincoln and their environmental programs and environmental consultation, Lincoln. So did they already have their urban forest management plan or their urban strategy? Like, are they ahead of Thorold? Does anyone?
Go ahead.
No, you know what? I'm not 100% sure, but I actually am at a conference today with kind of a lot of regional partners. So maybe I can ask around and see where Lincoln is at relative to us and then the other municipalities in Niagara.
Stuart, go ahead.
Sorry, I've been working, we work through the MPCA and our program Trees for All. We're working with all the municipalities on urban greening and different options right now. And from my understanding, Lincoln's been doing a lot of mapping of potential areas for planting, but that's the stage that they're at right now. They've got a lot of applications in, but not necessarily. So, I mean, there's other, I think Pelham is also right now putting out something out to get a greening urban forest strategy at the same time as Thorold. So it's very comparable. But I do know that there's a staff who works for both Pelham and Lincoln who's working on this. They have a shared staff between them. So all to say everyone's in the stages of developing this work.
I would assume that St. Catharines might have already done this, but I'm not, again, not 100% sure. They seem to have had a lot of work done years ago on this, as well as on a number of climate actions. So, but again, I don't know.
St. Catharines is a little bit ahead of everybody else. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, I'll move on to committee business. We'll start with working group updates. Oh, I don't see Jacob online. Justin, is he close to you that you can ping him, or I can go through some things?
He's not in this building, so no, I
Oh.
don't have him. I know he mentioned that not too many new updates. He just was that certain things are being confirmed in terms of vendors and the tree giveaway, but not too much has changed since his last update, is what he had mentioned to me.
Okay. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, I was hoping to just get a little bit more of an idea as to speakers and folks with booths, but I can tell you what I know, which is we've helped to recruit the Thorold Garden Club. So the president of the Garden Club will be giving a presentation on gardening with children on Earth Day. So I think that's a really a good presentation that I'm looking forward to. And in terms of booths at the event, we did also get 50 by 30 Niagara, as well as Seniors for Climate Niagara, to both have booths at the event. So that's what I know from activities that we've been doing through ECBAC, but I'm not sure who else is going to be there. I believe there is one other presentation for sure, but I'm not sure what it is. In terms of ECBAC, as previously discussed, we will have a booth ourselves, and the plan right now is to share information about what this advisory committee is all about, what we've accomplished or started to get underway in 2025, and what we're working on in 2026. And we're also looking to have a short survey for residents to fill out, identifying what they believe we should be working on this year. Things like Boulevard Gardens came up the last time we asked. So that's something that, as you all know, we've been working on. So Ratna and I have volunteered to staff the booth. We'll still have to finalize our timings. Is there anyone else? Joe?
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to be there for at least part of the day.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Just making a note here. So I'm going to be pulling together just a couple of documents on what I mentioned, what the advisory committee is about, what we've accomplished, and what we're working on in 2026, as well as the survey. I'll be pulling together some proposals for those things early next week, and then I'll share it with the working group, and we'll have to get that finalized in the next couple of weeks. Is there any other questions or comments regarding Earth Day? It's April 25th at the what's the building called, Justin? Sorry. It's the Canada Games. Canada Games Park.
Games.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the building itself has a different name, which I've driven by it 100 times and realized that it actually has a different name on the outside of the building.
I've only just referred to it known as Canada Games Park. So
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. Are there any other questions or comments on Earth Day? Seeing nothing else, we can move on to the committee long-term goals. As per previous updates, the ECBAC long-term goals working group is really just looking forward to engaging with the official plan activities, and we'll be discussing that in a couple minutes, so we won't waste any more time on that here. Greening Thorold working group we'll cover now, and just as a reminder, we were set up really to work on three main things. One of them is to review and update the city's tree list. Number two was to look at supporting boulevard gardens, pollinator gardens, and fall and winterized lawns. And then the third activity is to look at naturalizing city-owned properties. So for the tree list, I circulated a document about an hour ago, just before this call. And I want to thank Jay and city staff who've done an amazing job on taking Helen and my Excel sheets, Excel files, and turned that into something very user friendly and professional looking that is ready to implement. So I wanted to thank Helen and Jay and whoever was in the city, Jay, that worked with you on pulling that together.
Yeah, I can't take credit alone. Courtney Kopp, she's another development planner. She was very instrumental in helping as well. So yeah, team effort.
Great. Do you want to give us an update in terms of, I don't think it's been posted on the website yet.
No, so it hasn't been posted on the website yet. We're hoping to post it. I can send the email off either this afternoon or sometime in the near future to get it posted. Communication staff should be aware of that. And then I guess when it comes to kind of the internal workings of that planting list, in my role as development planner, I'll be providing preliminary kind of comments on development site plan applications. And so we've just kind of created a standard comment that we will be providing on future applications that says that they need to review the tree planting list in support of native plantings.
Okay, and at Earth Day, we will be sort of presenting that as something that people in Thorold need to be aware of. That there is an approved tree list if they want to be planting trees on their own properties. So
Right.
we'll try to raise awareness there as well. Councillor O'Hare, go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I just want to say that document looks phenomenal. So congratulations to our members. Mark, I guess that was yourself and Helen who put the initial list together. Looks fantastic, Jay, and the planning department, how you packaged it. Easy to read. Colorful. I mean, it's got everything going for it. So well done. It's going to help us get the message across to anyone who needs to know about it. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, great. So that's the tree list. So that's great. The next item was the boulevard and pollinator gardens, as well as allowing for fall and winter naturalized lawns. So this committee has provided the city with a list of suitable plants for boulevard gardens, with the assistance of the Thorold Garden Club, I might add as well. And we've provided links to guidance on how best to plant a boulevard garden, as well as recommendations for updating appropriate city bylaws. So the good news there is that last November, City Council via memorandum CLC 2525 directed staff to report on options to allow for the inclusion of boulevard gardens, pollinator gardens, and fall and winter naturalized yards in the city of Thorold. So once again, I'm going to ask Jay to provide an update regarding the timing of these reports and the associated bylaw updates. And we had discussed trying to get these in place for spring gardening season. That's going to be tough at this point, but see what you have to say, Jay.
Yeah. So what going back, there's a couple of kind of things associated with it. So it's boulevard gardens, it's pollinator gardens, and then it's the naturalized lawns. And so a report has been drafted. It's sitting, yes, in my documents folder. But we were just advised to hold off on the number of reports that we were sending to April Council, just given the number of topics being discussed and what was on the council for that night. So I've re-engaged with the director of planning and we hope to bring it forward in, I guess it would be the May council date.
Okay, thanks.
And I guess, sorry, that at that point, that will be an information report, which kind of allows council to set the direction on next steps.
Okay. And part of that info report will be recommendations on how to proceed with bylaw changes and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So things are moving forward. So thank you for that update, Jay. Once the bylaw updates are complete, I'm envisioning next steps that include a development and implementation of a pretty strong community engagement and communications plan. More so than with trees, I think that the people of Thorold would like to be involved. Well, we need to make sure everyone's understanding of that it will be allowed, assuming that we'll get those bylaw changes, to allow boulevard gardens and pollinator gardens, etc. So that'll be the sort of the next step once we get the bylaws updated. Okay, so that's the 2 out of the 3 items for greening Thorold. The last one is regarding collaborating with the city, looking for opportunities for planting trees and other vegetation on city-owned lands. And gee, I think we should probably connect offline to talk a little bit more about that. Months ago, we had started something informally with your predecessor's predecessor. So I did have some maps, and we started to look at areas that looked like it could be good candidates for putting in some trees. But we want to make sure that we're picking the right areas. We're not disturbing what that land was intended for, meaning we can't just plant trees on any field, right? We have to make sure that it's consistent with the natural environment, things like that. So we'll take that offline over the next few weeks.
Yeah, we just to jump in, we do have a couple of grants that we have applied for that are specifically just for planting trees. It's not kind of about location or anything, but as you say, we'll connect offline because I do anticipate that the urban forestry strategy will be very kind of fundamental in outlining where the most appropriate area for trees is.
For sure. Okay. All right, so that's it for greening Thorold, unless there's any other comments or questions from anybody. Seeing none, we'll move on to uh-oh. Are you guys, you can hear me still?
Yeah.
I can hear you, but
Okay.
You're still good, Mark.
I just had an error message come up from Zoom saying that the system just crashed. Okay. All right. Let's move on to committee and staff updates. So one of the other activities that we've been working on, referring to the agenda item 7.2.1. Another item we've been working on is some guidelines for staff regarding their environmental and climate change impact assessments. So we had developed a proposed guideline to use when completing this assessment on city reports. And, high level, our objective really is to have city staff view their work through an environmental and climate lens, considering not just near-term financial impacts of projects, but also on how decisions today will affect future generations and the environment. So the guidelines suggest considering impact on climate mitigation, which is in a sense reducing greenhouse gases, climate adaptation, basically preparing for extreme weather events, biodiversity loss or gain, human health improvements or harms, as well as the cost associated with climate inaction and the costs, the benefits of cost avoidance. So that's what the guideline was intended to do. We did receive some feedback that the guideline was a little long and complicated, that a shorter reference guide and summary would be useful. We also heard that concern over what if every report is net negative? It'll become sort of a box ticking exercise. And so what do we do? And so I think you'll see in the next version of the guideline that we're going to propose that the city compile and review assessments at a regular interval, whether it be monthly, quarterly, twice a year, and discuss why are these always negative, and discuss how to make systemic changes that will result in more environmentally positive projects going forward. So, and the third item that the feedback we had was an example comparing an asphalt parking lot to a permeable paving parking lot would be interesting to see. So that's all in the works right now, all those things that I just mentioned. And I expect that there will be some internal review within ECBAC before it comes back to you, Jay. And then we'll go forward at that point again.
Mhm. Okay.
You have any other comments, Jay, on the guideline?
Yeah, if I mean, like you say, we're still kind of iterating through it and revisiting it. If you guys do want to see an example of how it might look in the future, again, we're still editing it, but if you do want to take a look at the grant application report from, I think it was March 24th is the date, that does kind of walk through just a very high level version of those guidelines.
And the real challenge here, just to be really quite frank about this, I think the real challenge is trying to understand the costs of climate inaction and how to do that at a granular level every time a project comes forward. That's the challenge that I'm having. The other ones are pretty straightforward. You know, if a project is adding greenhouse gases or if it's reducing it, it's pretty clear. But how to capture the cost that we're seeing everywhere in society today with the cost of living increases. How do you capture that on a individual project basis is really the challenge in my mind. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, just speaking on that kind of value capture struggle with a lot of environmental initiatives. One of the things that the urban forestry strategy is going to look at is kind of our natural asset value. You know, there is a financial value to having a strong urban canopy. And so recently the NPCA with AMO and Ontario, essentially the Asset Management Ontario, have come up with a guideline for natural heritage assets valuation. So essentially, the urban forestry strategy will look at what the cost of trees contributing to the environmental systems generates. And so maybe moving forward, that will be able to provide us more of a tangible, easy to evaluate value as well. So like I say, the urban forestry strategy will kind of iterate on that kind of idea as well.
Okay, that's great to hear. I think we've all forgotten that everything we have comes from Earth. Everything, not just. I mean, yes, it's clean air, it's clean water, it's soil that has the nutrients to grow us food. But everything that we have, a drinking glass, everything that we have comes from nature, so we can't destroy it. But I'm preaching to the choir on this call. All right. Are there any other questions or comments on that report? Guideline, I should say. If not, then I'll move forward to official plan status. And again, I'll just start with a reiteration of what's happening within the city right now. So the development of, and I have to say this in one breath, of an official plan consolidation and gaps analysis for official plan conformity is underway within the city. And there is an expectation that planning staff will be consulting with advisory committees, including this one, sometime this summer. I also wanted to mention that within the initial activities for the official plan, there were recommendations, and I quote, that the Thorold official plan be updated to incorporate climate change mitigation and adaptation policies as part of a dedicated section within the official plan document. And there's another one that's of key interest right now, which was a statement regarding climate policy, that the region has set higher standards and targets to achieve than the provincial minimum standard, and that will need to be considered when developing this official plan. So on that topic, a lot has been happening recently with our provincial government. Not to mention the forced amalgamation of the region. There are other specific activities that will likely have an impact on the official plan development. So far I've seen two key pieces coming out of the province. Proposed changes to the official plan format that includes a mandatory standardized set of land use designations, which my own editorial comment is designed by and for developers. So I'm not sure how we're going to handle that one. That's going to be interesting. And just as interesting is Bill 98, which they slipped through just last weekend before Easter. And that includes a repeal to the existing act that demands that an official plan is required to contain goals, objectives, and actions to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions and to provide for adaptation to a changing climate. So I believe the province's intention there is to remove that requirement, but it doesn't say, from my understanding, we'll have to see what it comes out and looks like in detail. But so they want to remove the objective to contain all that, but it doesn't say that you still can't. That you still can. You can still do it. They're just saying it's no longer going to be an obligation and a requirement, I think. But we'll have to see how the lawyers figure all this out. So with that, Jay, do you have any comments on the schedule associated with the official plan development?
Yeah, so I think that's really just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to some of the provincial changes that they're wanting to make. And unfortunately, a lot of those changes, I think, go against a lot of the interests of this group. We've talked about that. There's some changes to site plan that are proposed. It's really a lot. So I do encourage maybe every member of this committee to review those proposed provincial changes. And if you feel compelled, write about it, because it will fundamentally change kind of how environmental planning is done provincially. When it comes to kind of the OP update, we have fallen behind in getting some of the background studies to inform the OP out. So like I say, this summer we're going to get out the urban forestry strategy, which will impact it. There's a sub-watershed study it's going to be coming out as well. So there are a number of studies that will be kind of background and supplemental to the official plan, which, like I say, ECBAC will be heavily involved with the urban forestry strategy, as well as kind of other groups. So yeah, a lot of provincial changes that we're adjusting with, but my hope and my goal is that kind of the consideration and the consultation with ECBAC remains relatively unchanged, if not improved.
Okay, thanks for that, Jay. So there are some studies and some other things that are required before the OP can go forward. So we're expecting some delays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments regarding the official plan development from this committee? Okay. Seeing none, we will move to the roundtable discussion. And I'm going to go just by the order I see people on the screen. So Helen, do you have anything you wanted to add or ask?
Not that I can think of right now, but every time you start with me, I come up with something by the end, but not today. Thank you.
We can swing by at the end again then. Zach, anything from yourself?
Nope, not on my end.
Okay. Councillor O'Hare?
Nothing to add, Chair. Thank you.
Stuart?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. I know that Mark Richardson's left the city, but before he left, we were working on getting some tree planting stuff organized between the MPCA and the city for this year. And so I think we've got a site that we're looking at I forgot the name off the top of my head, but it's the dog park out on Beaver Dams Road. Griffith. I'm getting a name, but there's a dog park out on Beaver Dams Road. We're looking at planting trees there this fall, and then we were working with Mark on putting together an application for TD Tree Days to do a project in Port Robinson. So there's been some kind of good things there, and I know that when we were working with him, we were identifying some other potential sites. We had some applications that we put in with the city of Thorold that didn't go the way we wanted, but we're going to keep going after these things. So just as it relates, we've talked a lot about trees today and a lot about naturalization, but these are conversations we're looking forward to continuing.
Okay, so did I hear correctly that Mark Richardson is no longer with the city of Thorold? That is hugely disappointing. Okay. So Jay, in his absence, or Justin, who should we be working with, or specifically perhaps to respond to Stuart's comments? Who should he be working with?
Stuart can reach out directly to me in the interim. I know Dave Baldoni as well from Community Services has been handling some of it, but maybe you can connect with me, Stuart, and we can figure out who from Community Services to loop in.
All right, thanks, Jay.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jay.
Where was I? Roundtable. Jay, you're up next.
Yeah, no, nothing for me. I think I've spoken enough today.
Appreciate it. Ratna?
Actually, nothing to add from my side as well. Thank you, Mark.
Okay. And Joe?
A couple of minor things. Well, I was asked about this and I said I'd bring it up again. We missed an opportunity for no mow May again. I must think about that before we're already into April for next year. And another thing is that at the last Parks meeting, we had some discussion about the possible amalgamation of this committee and the Parks Committee, which it's not a done deal, but it was a suggestion. And I suggested that possibly Mark, Marcia, and myself could have a coffee or something together at some point and just discuss it. There was a lot of pushback from the members of that committee if the agenda, if the meeting dates were comparable to the meeting here. Like during the day on a Friday, most of the people in that committee said, no, they weren't happy with that. Any more than most of the people on this would like to give up their Monday evenings for the parks. So some compromise would have to come together. But anyway, if I'll reach out to both Mark and to Marcia, and we'll get something going. It'll have to wait for a little bit. Today I'm coming to you live from Moncton. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So the logistics are a little bit tough for me just until later on next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping we could wait to some better weather so we can sort of meet outside at a cafe or something.
Or a deck of some sort.
Yes.
But
Okay, sounds good. We'll
oh shoot, I have one last thing. Oh, was wanted to double check with Justin when the cutoff for meetings is. Is that August or July? Because of the election.
It's July 1st. The next and last meeting for this one is June 5th.
Okay, so you got one more meeting before then.
Yikes.
I was
Thanks
just
for,
I was
thanks for
just check. Sorry, I was just checking if it was the 1st of August. I was going to suggest a July meeting, but that's a moot point now.
Okay, thanks for raising that. I was not aware. Okay. Helen, one more chance.
Yeah, so I just had a question about combining the two committees. Like, has any sort of small summary been done about what they talk about and what we talk about? Because I was actually on that committee with the previous election cycle. And boy, did we talk about ice time and recreation and baseball and hockey. And there was no talk about parks or trails or anything when I was on that committee. So that's why when I saw this committee, I thought, okay, that's a better fit. So I don't want to talk about ice time ever again. So I don't know if that was just a one-time big issue that came to the table or if that's an ongoing issue. But the recreation thing is, I think, a big part of that committee that we don't really talk about. So I just wanted to know if a little analysis could be like, maybe we have two committees, but every once in a while have a joint meeting on an agenda that we both want to contribute to. So that's just my 2 cents on that one.
Yeah, if I can speak to that just for a moment. Yeah, we've done the ice time thing a little bit more at the beginning than of the year or the session. Lately, it's been mostly parks, proposed parks, some trail stuff.
Okay.
And I kind of look forward to sitting back a little bit if a combined meeting, I'm being a little bit facetious here, but a combined meeting about new parks, permeable driveways and walkability versus parking, and asphalt so that they can put in an extra something. Because quite often at the parks, it's a matter of we want more stuff in the parks.
Yeah, so I think you know, Joe, I think regardless of what happens in terms of joining the two groups together, I think that there is definitely a need for more alignment and discussions when it comes to park space. Absolutely. We have a very large park right around in my neighborhood here, and I just saw the city come out with their plans. Not full plans, but the next stage of plans. And to me, there's this huge field there, and it's like perfect opportunity for naturalization, maybe a little trail. But no, it's splash pads, basketball courts, and etc. So yeah, so I get it. I mean, I think it would definitely be helpful to have some alignment and healthy discussion around the advantages of either. I think what it comes down to is a lot of time when people think about a park, they're talking about a playground. When I think most people in this committee think about a park, it's a nature reserve. You know, so you know, we need to come to a alignment that both are necessary and both are good, right? It's just where do we do them? But okay.
Exactly.
All right. So yeah, I'm looking forward though to Joe to meeting up with you and Marcia. I will say one item on the round table. It's pretty bleak from this committee's perspective what the province has been doing to date over the last several years. However, yesterday was an announcement of the next round of energy procurement by the province, and it's all renewable. I was shocked. So 2 wind farms and 12 solar. I don't know if they're farms or what they are, but this is very encouraging and great to see from the province. Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, one last one. The internet reminded me about this. Have you had any further notice, discussion, whatever, of a or maybe you've already done it, a tour of that battery recycling plant?
Well, we did one, but we haven't had a follow-up,
Okay,
right?
I'm just curious because I don't know where they are, but they were going to be recycling lithium batteries.
Right, right. And they talked about a new fire suppression system, which really is the big concern about lithium batteries.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe that's something we could put on our agenda, just on our things to do list. Okay,
Okay, thanks.
thank you. Okay, if there's nothing else, then the next meeting is on June 5th, and what I just heard from Joe and Justin is that will be the last one of this committee until the elections take place, and then I'm assuming, Justin, the process is once the new council is formed, then they go back and reinitiate these councils. Is that sort of how it happens?
So at some point, I'm hoping in December, when the new council comes forward, we'll propose, staff usually propose what committees they may want to have, and then council can approve what committees they want. Once those are approved, then recruitment can start after that.
And when did you say you hope it would happen by?
So I'm hoping, so the new council forms November, but then the first regular meeting will be in December. So that's when I'm hoping to get the report to get them to confirm which committees they want, and then recruitment will open up right after that, and then they'll approve members at their next meeting, which would be in January, and then
So
after
does that mean this committee is basically over after our June meeting, or can we continue to work in the background, working with the city in parallel?
So technically the committees end with the term of council, which is November 14th.
November
But this will be
14th.
our last regular meeting for various reasons, with election stuff and so forth. But yeah.
So then we will have another meeting after the June 5th meeting then, will we not?
Well, this was the last one that we approved because regular meetings are stopped July 1st.
Okay. So then we can continue with the working groups up until November 14th.
Well, I'd say probably up to end of September would probably be better, just with the election coming up in October. But yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Interesting.
But the only thing is, the committee has to approve certain things to direct staff to do things. So it'd be more just research, getting things ready, prepared for the future, or certain things staff can consider on their end.
All right.
And we'll also see planning as any updates for official plan and other things that need to come based on certain timelines. We'll have to discuss with them about how we go forward, if it'll come this year or it may bleed into next year, based on their timelines that they mentioned today. And with Mark, I'm not sure yet.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If there's no other comments, then I am going to be adjourning this meeting at 10:50 on April 10th, 2026. Thank you all.